So here's my new camera rig that I got, and I posted a short video quite a while ago on this camera here that I had gotten, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth on what exactly it is and what exactly I bought. I just got this cage and stuff here today, and so I'll also go over that and the reason why I have all this other stuff on here. And now here's the camera once it's removed out of its cage. And this is the Sony Handycam. It is the FDR AX53 camera. And I looked at other models of Sony cameras like this on the Handycams. And there's not a whole lot difference that I could tell between this camera here, which is the AX53. And I couldn't tell much difference between it and the AX43. The only difference I had found was that this has a sight on the back of it here that extends out and moves up so you can look through the back of the camera when you're filming. And the AX43 did not have that. And then you also have the option of folding out the viewfinder and it flips around the other direction. So if you're holding the camera here in front of you, you can see on what you're doing. But the sight on the back of it wasn't really a big deal breaker for me. It just happened to, this was the one that came up used on eBay, so I ended up buying this one. And this camera also came with a Sennheiser MKE 400 microphone, which audio is being recorded right now there on the camera. And the camera I'm using now is a Canon Rebel T3i. So I posted a short video, been probably a month or two ago, saying I'm now using the Canon Rebel T3i camera for all of my videos. But there's some stuff I didn't like on it. And one was the lenses I have for it are all too long. So right now the camera's about 8 feet away from me and I'm pretty well in frame on it. And so in a small shop like this, that's not really too great. It's better if you can move the camera a little closer because it's a little bit tight on space. And you can get better camera angles when your camera's not clear on the other side of the room. So that was one annoying thing, and that problem can be fixed with a new lens. But I wasn't really wanting to dump a bunch of money into it because the camera's on loan from my brother. It's his old camera and his old lenses. He has upgraded to the Rebel T7i, so he no longer uses camera. So I thought I'd give it a try. But I also didn't like the autofocus on it. It was hard to use because when you'd move the camera around when filming, you'd constantly be going out of focus. And then when it refocused, the lens was noisy. Again, that comes down to a cheaper lens I was using as a kit lens camera. And so you have all that noise of the lens focusing, which I do not want in my videos. And then the third thing I did not like about the camera was the stabilization because it doesn't have any. And the stabilization is really important to me. I hate it when videos are shaking all over. It drives me crazy. And I cannot stand watching videos that are really shaky. And I noticed when I was filming, the camera is just always moving, always a little shaky because I don't always film on tripod. A lot of times I put the camera in hand and I just am filming something. Like I used that Canon camera to film a little bit of my toolbox restoration, which that video hasn't come out yet. But the footage was a little shaky and I didn't quite like it. And again, that comes down to the lens quality. My brother has some other lenses. They're really high end and they have no shake at all. They have really good stabilization. So I was looking at buying a new lens for it. But I'm talking probably at least $800 for a lens. And so I have heard these Sony Handycams are really good. They have really good stabilization. And overall, they're just a really good camera. And I thought this might be a better way to go instead of buying a lens. And then eventually, later on, I'd have to upgrade camera bodies. And so I thought I'd just go the cheaper route and buy this here. Now, these cameras still are not cheap. They don't make them anymore, I don't think, but there's still a few new ones on Amazon. They range between $1,100 and $1,200, and they sell around $800 to $900 used. So these cameras are still quite pricey, and even though it's a few years old, it still is a very good quality camera, and it's still a great contender with the newer models of like Canons and Nikon and all these other brands of this style of camera. And then the reason why I went with a Sony camera is because I compared this camera to Canons and Nikons and all these other brands, and this one here just always came out on top. I have really no complaints with Canon, and I've never been a fan of Nikon because it seems like you were paying for the name and you're paying more money for a camera with less features, kind of like if you bought a John Deere or an iPhone. They just seem like they are running off of the name and they don't seem to be up to par as far as I'm concerned. And one thing about this camera here is it has a crazy good zoom. Now that wasn't really something I was too worried about because the zoom's not really something I'm going to be using a whole lot. However, it's nice to have the option. And I think this has around a 40 times zoom, and it has insanely good autofocus, and it has really good stabilization, so even when you're zoomed in, there's very little shake and movement. So when you turn this camera on, you just open the screen, and then the end of it here opens up, and you can also turn it on by pulling this eyesight out, and that also turns the camera on. Now you cannot have the eyesight out with the door open, because it cannot do both functions at once. When you open the viewfinder on it, it turns off the eyesight on it. But like I said, I'm not going to be using the eyesight a whole lot on it, but it is a nice option to have. And I did buy a filter to go onto the end of the camera. And I bought that because I wanted to protect the lens. I want to keep dust and stuff off of it. And I'm going to be filming in the shop here, and I didn't want any sparks or anything to damage the lens. I also run a filter on my Action Camera, and I've actually had melted spots in the glass from cutting torch or welder, even grinders and stuff like that. If the camera's too close and they get hit by sparks, and you can't damage them, so I always run a filter to protect the lens. Okay, I'm now filming on the Sony Handycam camera, and you can see the Canon T3i sitting on a tripod. That's just not filming on it. And I was going to show you how the zoom is here. I got a tape measure strung all the way out, and I'm sitting here about at the 14-foot mark. And I have a acetone can sitting up here. And just to show you how good the zoom is and how good the stabilization is. Now the zoom here, that's the halfway point. That's the optical zoom. And if I zoom in here more, and this here is going to be the digital zoom. But you can clearly read the acetone again. The camera's a little shaky, but considering how zoomed in I am, and how small the print that is, that I think it's really good. Read all the numbers. I don't know how much more I can zoom in here until I start to lose focus. It's getting a little bit fuzzy, but that is not bad. Now considering that's 14 feet away, and sitting here not looking through the camera, there's no way I can read any of that. It just looks like black lines. And so that's really impressive, I think. And same with this bucket here. You can clearly read all that. It's not quite as far away, but still, that's really impressive. Well, now that we've checked out the zoom, we've seen how good that is, now we're going to go over the stabilization on this camera. Now the lens inside this camera is set up on a gimbal. Now you've probably seen gimbals before that hooked on the camera. It's a stick you hold on to and the camera hangs off of it, and it keeps your camera perfectly stable and it does not move around. Now that has something similar inside the camera holding onto the lens, So when you move the camera around, the lens actually moves inside. You see in this video here when the camera is shaking back and forth, you see the lens move to counteract, and it really helps a lot, and it makes everything so much more stable, and it's really quite impressive. Now, like I said, I haven't done a ton of video work with this camera, but so far the couple weeks I've been using it, I've been really impressed with it and really happy with it. Now, this also does have a digital stabilization, which I also normally have turned on, and between the two of them, you really get pretty steady footage, and it's not all shaky. Okay, well now we're going to go over the cage I got for this camera. Now, this is not specific to this camera at all. The brand of it is Neewer, and they make a cheaper camera gear that's still decent quality. And I bought this off eBay. It was a new open box, and you can get them off Amazon new for like 80 bucks. And I got mine at half price, being it was open box. There'll be a link in the description down below. Make sure you go click that, go check it out. And if you buy off that link, it really helps me out. So I decided to go with this cage here because it's mostly all aluminum. The actual handles you hold on to, those are plastic. But basically, it's really solid, really stout. And it has a lot of places for mounts. As you see, all the stuff I have mounted onto it. It has a handle here on top, so you can actually hold it and hold it down low if you want to do some lower angled filming. And it's really nice just to carry it around by this top handle. Really stout, really sturdy, easy to hold on to. And I have a light right here I have mounted on it, which is really great if you're filming a little bit dimmer, or if you have it turned around and you're filming yourself, you can turn the light on and it has a lot better lighting. And I have it on a DJI Action Camera mounted here. Now, usually I wouldn't really have it mounted on there, but if you're filming, now it's all the rage, the YouTube shorts and TikTok videos, and all those videos are filmed vertically like this, not portrait. So I find it's kind of nice to mount this camera on here, and then when you're filming a video, you can just film a quick short or a quick TikTok video, and then the camera's facing the right direction. And then I can just wirelessly remove the videos off of this camera on my phone, and I can easily post them. And then last but not least here, I have a Movo microphone. And I mentioned earlier this camera came with a microphone. However, this one here does insanely well in wind. And here living out in the middle of Kansas, wind is a very big issue. So if it is windy, I use this microphone. However, this microphone is terribly heavy. So I am afraid to mount it onto the hot shoe mount on the camera itself, because it has so much weight to it. I'm afraid it's going to damage the camera. So this cage is really nice to mount stuff like this on here that's heavier, and it so far works out really well. I'm looking forward to using this in future videos and hopefully have better video quality and better content. Well, I guess it's going to do it here for this video. I just wanted to do a quick video about the new camera I got and all the accessories and stuff. I don't know why I find this stuff interesting. Maybe you guys do, or if you don't, then skip the video, and I guess it's too late to skip the video. But then I'll be back to posting my normal content and hopefully get some of these projects started and get other projects finished. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below, and I'll see you next week.